Well, things have gotten really weird in the Brandon Aiyuk saga. A few days ago, it seemed like maybe they were going to come to an agreement on an extension. He dapped up the coach and the general man, dapped him up in front of everyone. That was a consensual dap. And usually that means that 9 months later, a contract is going to be consummated, but that's not what happened. After this consensual, what happened is that it seemed like that was all for show. And now the report, Matt Mayoko's reporting it. Originally, it was Cam Marino. Shout out to Cam Marino, who said that Brandon Aiyuk is not expected to play for the Niners in 2024, that Cleveland and New England are the front runners to trade for him, and that Pittsburgh's still in the mix. Now Mayoko comes out today and says, yeah, that's most likely what's going to happen. Not expected to play for the 49ers this year. Trade is looking like the most likely scenario. So Colin Cowherd, thank you for telling us to keep our eyes out on a new deal for Aiyuk, and the night didn't happen. Thank you, Colin. That is why you're the best at what you do. So let's talk about what the Niners potentially could get for Brandon Aiyuk, who, again, is not expected to play for the Niners this year. This is coming from Cam Marino and now Matt Mayoko as well. Don't take it from me. Now, Brandon was here today, and he washed his hands in the bathroom. That's a scoop. You want to talk about scoops? So let's talk about the first team, Cleveland. Apparently, Cleveland is willing to offer Brandon Aiyuk more than $30 million a year and willing to offer the Niners something that they want. Matt Mayoko speculates that the offer coming from Cleveland would be Amari Cooper and picks. I suggested this trade in June. So I would like to chalk this up as a big win for quality control. Like, this would be a smart trade for the 49ers. You don't want to pay Brandon Aiyuk big money long-term. You're okay with having him one more year and then tagging him and trading him next year. So if you only got 1 year left with him, how about do 1 year with Amari Cooper, who's at least as good as Brandon Aiyuk? He's faster than Brandon Aiyuk. He might be better than Brandon Aiyuk. I think this is an interesting trade, but it hasn't happened yet. Why? Seems like the Niners are okay with it. Cleveland's okay with it, but they have to get Aiyuk to agree to an extension with Cleveland. And I'm guessing he doesn't want, what does Aiyuk want? He doesn't want to play for Cleveland. It's like, you want to be paid $30+ million a year. Okay, Cleveland will do that. You don't want to play there though. So you want to play for Pittsburgh or Washington. That's what you want. Who do you think you are? You can't pick your team. You requested a trade. You're going to get traded to Cleveland. And they're not even bad. They have a quarterback who makes money. Little controversial, but they got a quarterback. They went to what? They go to the playoffs last year? Joe Flacco? Did I hallucinate that? Not the worst team. They beat the Niners with PJ Walker. So, I don't know. This kind of feels like Aiyuk all offseason crying, whining, I want out, I want more money. And Niners like, fine, we found it, here. And then Cleveland's calling Aiyuk like, all right, we love you. Can we sign an extension? And Aiyuk's like, not answering that phone call. So what's the alternative, Brandon? Stay on the Niners and play on the 5th year option for $14 million. You'd rather do that than go get the extension you want in Cleveland. Is it fair to say that Brandon doesn't know what he wants? Why are you at the facility? Why are you using the restroom and all that stuff? Like, do you want to be here or not? Now, all of a sudden, you're cool staying here, taking what the Niners have offered you, being on the 5th year option. This is a good trade for the Niners. It's a good trade for Cleveland. Brandon, what are you waiting for, man? Do you want to play football this year? For Cleveland, for the Niners, anywhere? Make up your mind. The ball is in your court now. You requested the trade. They found the trade. They found the money for you. It's not in the city you want. It's not with the quarterback. What do you? So what? You really think Adam Peters and Washington is going to give the Niners what they want? Absolutely not. Not going to happen. I'm starting to look at Brandon kind of funny, man. Like, go to Cleveland. Go to Cleveland. This is exactly what you wanted. Quarterback who can make all the throws. Contract that reflects how good you are. And, a warm city in a tourist capital. That's what you wanted. So you got it. Another team that could trade for Brandon Aiyuk, the New England Patriots. Now, Cleveland is a good team with a good defense and a young quarterback who's dynamic, hasn't played well in a few years, but there's Nick Chubb. They got players there. New England might be the worst team in football. Quarterback is Jacoby Brissett or Drake May. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to name 5 players on the entire roster. They suck. In addition, they're in Foxborough, which you probably haven't been to Foxborough. You're thinking, oh yeah, that's like a suburb of Boston, right? Not really. It's in rural Massachusetts, and it's like an hour away from Boston, and I think it's actually closer to Providence, Rhode Island than Boston. So have a good time. That's like NFL boot camp. Hey, do you want to be as miserable as possible? Play for the Patriots. So Mayoko put this in his article. Again, if he goes to Cleveland, the idea is Amari Cooper and picks in return. Hell of a trade. If he goes to New England apparently offered the 34th pick in this year's draft, and the Niners turned it down. So now the offer from New England is Kendrick Bourne and picks. According to Mayoko, Kendrick Bourne and pick. You remember Kendrick Bourne? He played for the Niners for the first few years of his career, and then he went and signed with the Patriots, and he's perfectly fine. He's okay. He's like Jawan Jennings, but not as good. But not bad. Maybe a little bit faster. Can play outside, not just in the slot. He's not nearly as good as Brandon Aiyuk. He's not nearly as good as Amari Cooper. And if the Niners were to make that trade, Aiyuk for Bourne and picks, you would not be happy. So that's why I don't think they can. Would they do that? Are they that upset with Brandon Aiyuk that they would bring him back just because they like Kendrick Bourne? How about that? Let's talk about that for a second. Is it possible that the Niners are the ones that are like, you know what? We don't want you anymore. We don't want you anymore. Like, good luck somewhere else. Good luck to the next team that employs you because we're done. We had some misgivings about paying you all that money before the offseason, but over the last 3 months, you've only confirmed every one of our misgivings. Every week you've done it. So we're going to trade you to New England for Kendrick Bourne just because we know he gets along with the coach. He won't put himself above the team. Doesn't this feel vindictive of the Niners? It's like, oh, you wanted to trade? You want to make us look bad? Sure, man. We'll take care of you. We're a player-friendly organization. Even to ungrateful little jerks like you. We'll take care. You want to trade for sure, man. Cleveland or New England. Your pick. Where do you want to spend the next 4 years, Brandon? You tell us. Oh, Washington? We tried. We got Foxborough or Cleveland. 2 of the nicer cities in America. No offense. Honestly, if I were the Niners and I felt like a player wasn't acting in good faith and was getting petty and stuff online, I would do the same thing, man. Oh, you want to go to Washington? Oh, okay. New England it is. You can be part of the rebuild over there, Brandon. You can really set the culture. You don't like our culture here, right? You don't like the way, get all the targets you want, be the leader, take a backseat to freaking no one. You would be the star on the team. That's what you want, right? I don't really want to sound like I'm coming down in favor of the Niners in this one. I feel like they've botched this too. They deserve criticism too. Like it's gotten this messy. He's out there watching practice, every installation, and it's now looking like he most likely won't play for the team. Then why is he here? Tell him go home, Brandon. Thank you very much. You can go now. Start looking for places to live in Foxborough. What an awful ending to his documentary. And then I got traded to the Patriots and I was miserable and my career was not what I wanted it to be. The end. And then I had to live in Cleveland for 4 years and it was great. Do you think he did that thing with DAP, with the coach and the GM the other day because he needs footage for his documentary? If he does need footage for his documentary, it feels like we got one episode left. There's one scene left. And I wonder what that scene is going to be. Again, if you didn't see my instant analysis, I have it on good authority, phenomenal authority, that Brandon Aiyuk was in the facility today, in the restroom. And yes, he washed his hands. So just a bizarre situation, man. Like letting him use the soap. There's only so much soap. There's only so much water. He's not on the team. It's a waste of resources. Doesn't make any sense. I feel like he's going to have to pick Cleveland or New England. What is he waiting for? He'd be like, no, let's give it another week. Maybe Washington will make the deal I want. Maybe Jaden Daniels will convince Adam Peters to throw in someone. Like, unless Washington offers Terry McLaurin, they're not getting Brandon Aiyuk. And it doesn't seem like Washington's going to offer Terry McLaurin. So you know what, Brandon? You got to pick. And the fact that he would rather go to Washington than Cleveland is like, Washington sucks. Not the city, but the team. Cleveland is better than Washington. So do you just want to play with Jaden Daniels? I don't understand, man. Trying to understand Brandon Aiyuk can't do it. I'm lost.